Hanadie, reporting for Kids First. Today, I'm live at the Melbourne Hotel, where I have the incredible opportunity to talk to the voices that brought the charming characters of Migration to life. We also have an insightful solo session with the visionary director, Benjamin Renner, where he takes us behind the scenes of Migration. Get ready for an inside look into making this animated adventure and the voices behind the feathers. Let's fly in. Okay, so Migration is your first feature for a major U.S. studio.
Yeah.
How did this experience differ from your previous work?
Oh, well, as you say, I came from much more, I've come from France, and I did like movies in France with a smaller studio and hand-drawn animation, meaning that I was just using a pen, like doing drawings basically. And it was the first time of my life working with 3D, which was very different from me because it's not the same, like drawing a character and making it into 3D. So that was quite stressful because I didn't know how to do that. But fortunately enough, I knew I was working with a studio that did Mario, Despicable Me, so I knew they were very talented with that. So I just went to the studio, started working with them, and they were so good at making ducks, like in 3D, that everything went well. That's how it happened.
So one of the major different things from you was like the animation style because it was 3D and not like hand-drawn?
Well, the major difference, to be honest with you, is that it's more like the way I was talking to them, because I'm used to work with people and tell them, oh, let's add this character, or let's make the character be like this or like that, and like open his mouth wide or stuff like that. And people in the studio were like, oh, we can't make this happen because we didn't think that through. Because when you do a character in 3D, you have to imagine that you're building like a wooden puppet, and you have to imagine every element of how it's going to move. If it has to frown upon you, you have to make the mechanism so that it can frown upon and everything, or smile like this. And me in 2D, I can do whatever I want. If I want my character to transform into, I don't know, like a crocodile or something, I can do it. But here it's not possible. You have to think this through beforehand. So that was more like, the kind of behavior where I came in and said, let's do this, and they were like, it's going to be complicated. And so I learned how to be more prepared, like beforehand, just like not coming up with ideas all the time and just think this through. Yeah, that was the main thing.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So what elements did you prioritize as a director to ensure that Migration stands out as a visually stunning and emotional film?
Yeah, well, that's always what you want to do when you do a movie. You want it to be incredible and something grand and everything. And we had to find what was going to make this film unique. And in a sense, like the simple fact that we are talking about ducks doing a migration was already like a subject that was very exciting for us and quite unique. And it's mostly the fact that we're like really connecting this adventure to a human family dynamic. It's not just ducks, it's also a family with the mother and the father and having their bickering, and the kids, like being themselves. And that's what's making this film a little bit special. And also the fact that we're doing a huge road trip from the point of view of ducks. So basically you're going to discover the emotions that ducks can have when they're discovering the world. For example, they're going to New York, and New York for you, it's a beautiful city, but for ducks, it's something incredibly scary or marvelous, we don't know, fascinating. So we really played with that. When they see a building, they don't know if it's a sleeping giant, or if it's like just a pile of rock. We knew it's a pile of rock, a building, but for a duck, it can be a colossus that's going to eat them. So that's the kind of thing that we try to put the audience in the eye of what ducks can perceive of the world.
So like using natural family dynamics for ducks and like really putting yourself in like the duck's shoes and imagine like, wow, this building may be like so cool to us and might be terrifying to them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that makes sense.
That's the kind of thing we try to do, like to make it exciting for the audience.
So what role did the talented team at Illumination play in shaping the final look of Migration?
Oh, well, they were already very talented. It's a studio, they made Mario, they made Despicable Me, so they're so talented. And there's something that I love with them, is that they're going to create those weird creatures, those weird design, and make it feel so real. Like, a minion, it's a weirdest shaped creature, But at the same time, when you see it, you feel you can touch it when you watch it in the movie. And even the humans, they're weirdly shaped, but still, they have a beautiful skin, beautiful clothes and everything. You feel you can be there and touch them. And that's what was great with this movie, is that we could have those ducks in a real world, but they also look very funny looking, you know, they have those weird shaped, you know, like body. And at the same time, when you watch their feathers, it's so beautiful, you know, when they're flying, you can see the feathers shaking and you can really feel the wind in your face, almost like the way they animated that. So they have a talent to make those weird design and image, like weirdest idea we can have and make it happen, you know, on the screen and make it feel so like you could touch it, and so that's what's really exciting about it. Yeah.
So they like take like our weirdest and wildest dreams and they make them like somewhat like dreamy and comforting in a way?
Exactly. That's like you come up with the weirdest idea and they will make it move and live and be real. Yeah.
So what aspects of the film's production are you most proud of as a director?
Oh, it's hard for me to say because, you know, like as a director, I really try to do my best in every element. I think it's what I like to do is try to be very sincere, you know, in what I'm trying to say, to express. Like the emotions that the characters are feeling, I want to make sure I get them. And it's coming from an emotion that I live myself, or I know that someone was, you know, like make sure that it comes from real tears or real laughter or things like that. So I'm really doing my best to make sure that what I'm saying is something that I deeply believe in or that I'm deeply sincere about. So
really the emotional value is what you are most proud of?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so at the start of the film, it evolves from a 2D animation to a 3D animation.
Yeah.
Can you share how this transition influenced your creative process?
Yeah, well, it's actually something, you know, coming from hand-drawn animation to the animation, I wanted to do a little wink, you know, to my career in this movie. And the fact that at the beginning of the movie, it starts with a little bedtime story told by the father. And we wanted to make sure that once this little bedtime story is over, we get to the real world, like 3D and everything, where everything feels so real. So that's why we chose to make this sort of like little 2D, cartoony kind of realm, so that the audience can really get, oh, now we are in a little story, and then when we get to the 3D world, we are inside the real, you know, like something very much more concrete.
Yeah, when I watched it, I definitely understood like what was happening. Like,
yeah.
Hey, this is a story, this is reality.
Yeah.
So my last thing for you
Yeah.
is, what message do you hope viewers will take away from watching this?
Well, the message is definitely, you know, like how, like to convince people that it's really important to get out of your comfort zone, you know, like that routine is great. It's cool to be sometimes in routine and be comfortable, but it's also important to face your fears, you know, like to challenge life and make sure that you don't just stay running in circle in your little, you know, like comfort zone, and you really try to evolve, and for that you have to accept that fear is going to be part of it, and it's important to face fear, and that's it, you know, like that. We wanted to share this idea with a lot of comedy and everything, but that's the deepest message of the movie, like just to make sure that people we remind the audience of that, and that it's important, and that you're going to be rewarded if you do that.
Well, I absolutely love that message. Thank you so much for
You're
talking
welcome.
with me today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you guys so much for talking with me. Migration releases in theaters December 22nd, 2023. I am Hanadie reporting for Kids First. Be sure to subscribe to our channel to stay informed about upcoming films. Thank you. Bye.